Hello and welcome. I am Helle from Game for Life BG, and today I'm going to take a look back at last year 2021 and look at the quick games that I've played the most, my top 10 games. If you have any games that I have played the same amount, then I will put them on the same spot. But in this list I can say there's only one place where there are some games that I have played the same amount. And this will be my quick games that will take typically less than half an hour to play. I have also made a video with my top 10 most played games that takes more than half an hour to play. I will make sure to make a link in the description for that video. And I can say one thing, that after Line, my daughter, she had moved away from home, then I haven't played as many quick games as usual, because normally in the weekends when we were eating breakfast or we had lunch, then we would play a game at the same time. So that of course we haven't done. So I haven't played as many quick games as I have the other years. But let us take a look at my list. And on a share spot number 10, I have Llama. And this is a card game for 2 to 6 players. It is designed by Rainer Knizia. And in this game, you're going to get cards with numbers 1 to 6, and then you have some llama cards. And you're going to get 6 cards to your hand. And you are going to try to get rid of all your cards. And if you do, the game will stop and you will actually be able to remove one of your chips. The game can also end where all players, they have said pass, and then you're going to score minus points depending on the cards that you have in your hand. So you're going to score for the value of the card, and the card from 1 to 6, they are the number they have, and the llama card is minus 10 points. And if you have the same kind of cards, you're only going to get minus point for one of the cards. So for this player here, they would get minus 11, 10 for the llama and 1 for one of the 1 cards. And you're going to play the game until a player gets over 40 points. And then the player with the least amount of points is the winner of the game. I find that this is a fun, quick card game where there are some log-in too. And you have some fun situations where sometimes you will get a lot of minus points, and sometimes you will be happy when you get rid of all your cards and you can actually remove a chip from your hand, which can also be one of these 10 points chips. And also on a shared spot on number 10, I have K3. So this is what you have in the box. You have all of these wooden tokens and you have a bag you can put them in. And each player, they're going to draft tiles from the bag depending on how many players you are, and then you're going to build your own little pyramid, and all players will build their own pyramid. And then at the center you have some tiles you have placed in one row, and then you can build to this, and you can only take from the top, so where you don't have a tile on top of it. So at the first one you can only take this one. When you have removed that one, then you have 2 tiles available, and so on. And you can build to the center here. With this black one, you could place it between the yellow and black, or between the black and the red. If there hadn't been any black cubes out here, then you wouldn't have been able to place any, and then you would be out. In this one, you need to be the last man or woman with the cubes left, or you need to eliminate the others so they can't place anything to the pyramid, because then you are also out. So this is an abstract game where you're going to look at what the opponents they are doing, and then you're going to place your tiles accordingly, so you maybe can make sure that they might not be able to place a tile. And if a person places a tile where you have 2 of the same colors, if there were 2 black beside each other here and you placed your black on top, then another player can steal one of your cubes. So this is a simple abstract game which I think is a fun one to play. On my place number 9, I have Love Letter. Normally this would have been higher on my list, but since Line has moved away, we haven't played it as much as we usually do, because this is really one we enjoy to play. And in Love Letter you have 8 different cards, and you're going to try to see if you can be the last person in the game or be the last one with the highest value at the end. You will eliminate players in this game, and this is a very interactive game where you in kind of some deduction in the game where you're going to guess what other players they have to their hand, or you're going to try to knock them out. And each of these cards, they have different abilities, and there is a different number of cards. So this is an enjoyable, quick, simple card deduction game where the player that first gets enough letters to the printers is going to be the winner. And my number 8 most played game is JustOne. And this is a cooperative game for 3 to 7 players. You can actually also be more players. You can kind of be in teams, or we have sometimes been in teams when playing it if we have been more players. And this is a cooperative game where one player is going to be the active player, and they are going to try to guess a word, and you are going to give them a clue. So you have one player that is going to draft a card, and they're going to place it so they can't see what the text is on it. And then they're going to say a number. In this case, I think they said number 3, pool. And then each player, they are going to give a clue. They have to write a clue down. And if any gives the same clue, then the clue is out. So you have to be careful not to give the same. So sometimes you have a really obvious word. So it can be that maybe you don't even get it because no one is going to write it. But you really have to think creatively in this game, so you can give as many clues to the person that is going to guess. This is also a game that I have played a lot over Zoom, since you can be more players that are going to write on a paper and then show them on a screen. So this is definitely a game you can play over Zoom and enjoy that way. And on spot number 7, I have The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9. And this is a game for 2 to 5 players. It's also a cooperative game where you're going to get cards and you're going to get different missions. And there are 50 missions you have to try to see if you can fulfill them all. But you will play one mission at a time. And you have cards in 4 different colors with the numbers 2 to 9. And then you have some cards with a rocket on with the number 1 to 4. And that is joker cards, like trump cards that can trump. You're going to play, each player is going to play a card. And the player that has the highest card in that color, or if it has been trumped with one of the rockets, is going to win the stick. And then you are going to get different missions that some player, if you might be that you need to get a stick with the number 5, red 5, or maybe you are going to get the blue 4, and then you need to cooperate and try to see if you can give the right missions to the different players. And you can't talk about the cards you have in your hand. So this is just an example of one player's hand where you can have the numbers from 2 to 9, and then he has one trump to his hand. I really enjoy this game too, and I need to play it even more this year, I think. And on spot number 6, I have Second Chance. And this is a game for 1 to 6 players. And it's Uwe Rosenberg that have made this game. And this is a game where you are going to get a sheet with that is 9 times 9. And this is also a game I have played a lot over Zoom, because each player, they just need to have a sheet, and then you need one player to have the game. And each player, they're going to get their own sheet, and they're going to get a start tile that you're going to draw to a sheet, and that is different for each player. They will get their own figure to draw. And then you have all these different shapes, so it's kind of Tetris stylish that you're going to draw to your map here. And you're going to draft 2 cards, and then each player have to choose one of these 2 to draw to their map. And if at some point you can't draw them anymore, you are out of space for the runs, then you get a second chance and can draw a card and see if you will be able to place that card to your board. And if you can't, then you are out. And then you are trying to see if you can fill out as many spaces as you can. And the player that has the least empty spaces at the end will win the game. I have managed 2 times to fill it all out, all the spaces. That is pretty fun when that happens. So this is, I think, a fun puzzle game, and trying to see if you can match everything. And then there's also some luck in the cards that are going to come up And then on my spot number 5, I have Patchwork. And this is a 2-player game. And this is also designed by Uwe Rosenberg. And this is also a game where you are trying to where you get a big, I can see, where you're going to get these Tetris tiles where you're going to place them to your board. And you have a start marker, and on your turn you can take one of the 3 tiles ahead of it, and it will cost you time. And then you will advance in this board in the center, and when we get to this last space, the game is over. And the player that has received the most buttons, which you are going to get in this one, is going to win the game. And each player, they have their own board where you're going to fill in all the tiles. And of course, you're going to try to fill it all out, like with Second Chance. But here it is tiles you're going to draft and place to your board. Really an enjoyable game, Patchwork. Really great 2-player game, and it's quick. And then on spot number 4, I have Don't Mess with Cthulhu, or also known as Time Bomb, which was the first version of this game. And I'm going to explain it from the Time Bomb perspective, because I have the original version, Time Bomb, and here you're going to get it's a card game, it's a semi-cooperative game in the way that you have 2 teams and they're going to work against each other. And you have some terrorists, they're going to know, no, they're not going to know each other in this game. Nobody knows who anybody is, but you have a SWAT team and you have a terrorist, and you are going to be dealt your role in secret. And then you have some cards here where you have a bomb. The terrorists, they need to find the bomb and make sure it explodes, then they will win. And the SWAT team, they need to get some successes. And then you have some safe cards. All these cards are going to be mixed, and then they are going to be placed on the board. And then you will use this nibber to clip the cards. And for the SWAT team, they need to find the good cards. You have a lot of interaction in this game, and you are going to each player, when you are in turn, and you are going to decide which card is going to be flipped over. Then you can ask the players if it's safe to clip one of their cards to see if you can get one of the successes if you're on the good team. This is really a simple little fun game that I can play with a lot of different players. Also players that normally do not like social deduction games, then I can play Time Bomb with them. And on space number 3, I have Clask, and also Clask 4. I have put them together. So I have 2 versions. I have one version where you can play with 2 players. And in this game, you will be sitting on each side of this board, and you're going to use this one to shoot to the ball. And then you need to first get up to 6 points. And you can do this by various ways, by scoring, or by getting 2 of these magnets to your opponent, or they can maybe, you lose points in various ways. But this is really a fun, simple, dexterity game. And you can also play it with 4 players, which is also pretty fun. And one I have used at gathering where we are a lot of players together, or just a lot of people together in different arrangements. Then I will take this game out, and also with family gatherings, I will take this game out, and people, they will play it and have fun. And here you can play with the 4 players when you play this version. Just a simple, fun game where you're guaranteed mostly to get some laughs in when you play the game. All right then, on spot number 2, I have Beautopia, a game for 2 to 5 players, and it takes about 15 to 30 minutes. And in this game, you have beautiful butterflies that you're going to build to your garden. And you can use a card, either you can flip it to the back side and use it as a flower in your garden. You need these flowers to attract the butterflies. And on the left corner at the top, you can see how many flowers you need in your garden to be able to play one of the butterfly cards. And there's more strategy to this game than you just think when you play it the first couple of times, because you need to use the different abilities and then it's a race to first get up to 15 points and be sure that you have the most points, because everybody is going to get the same amount of turns. And you also have some mission cards you can claim if you have fulfilled them with the butterflies you put to your garden. And this is really an enjoyable card game that Lina and I also have played a lot, and have played it with different player counts. So that was my number 2 most played game of 2021. Now, let's get to number 1. And this might not be a surprise. It was also, I think, my number 1 game last year. And that is Impact Battle of Elements, also known as Strike. It's the same principle. It's for 2 to 5 players. You have a little arena and you have dice, and then each player, they're going to get dice, and you're going to throw dice into the arena, and if you have some die faces that are the same, then you get to claim those dice, and if there are blank on them, then they are out of the game. And if you somehow manage to remove all of the dice from the center so it's empty, then it's Big Bang, and the next player have to throw in all of their dice, and you're going to play until there is only one player left with dice. So in this one, you're going to try to eliminate the other players and be the last man standing. Really a simple, fun game where you can, I think this is one I can play with the family, with kids, and at social gatherings where you just maybe sit and have a little drink, and then you can play this game at the same time. And this is also a good filler game. So, and when you might not want to think too much, you just want to have a little bit of fun, then you can take this game out and just throw some dice. And so that was my list with the games that I have played the most of the quick games. And I do like to have different games and different game types for different situations. It's fun to have some of the really quick games, just fun games, and then the thinky games, and the longer games. And I will of course make sure to make a link in the description for my other top 10 for games that took more than 30 minutes to play. But I hope you enjoyed my list, and maybe you have some games, quick games, that you enjoy to play a lot. You're welcome to share them in the comments. But that is it for me. Bye.